Today we are making spinach dip in a cob loaf. It's one of those recipes that you think is really daggy and old-fashioned and belongs back in the 70s, but for me the cob loaf has never ever gone out of style, and it's actually trending at the moment. So what we've done is, instead of the traditional French onion soup mix, the sour cream, the cream cheese, just in a hollowed out bread, we've really pimped up the flavours, and it's almost like a hot cheese dip. So stay tuned. So we have in a frying pan a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, and to that we're just going to add a small onion, and that'll just give us that beautiful savouriness that's the base of so many beautiful dishes. And some bacon. So I've got 250 grams of bacon here, and I'm slicing it really finely because you want all that bacony goodness to be really evenly distributed throughout the dip. If you didn't want to have bacon, you could easily use thinly sliced mushrooms. That would be a lovely vegetarian option, or even some fresh corn, or even frozen or canned corn would be just as delicious. Just moving the onion about in the pan, and it's just started to soften. So now in goes the bacon. And a little bit of garlic, fresh garlic. So just give that a rough chop. In that goes. While that's happening, just flip that board over and I'll show you how to prepare your cob loaf. So they usually come in a lovely kind of circular shape, and you really just want to take off a lid. So just trace around, not cutting all the way through. So you've got your markers, and then you can go in with the knife, and that's your lid. So you're left with a really lovely opening. So with a serrated knife, just go around the edges, leaving about a centimetre all around. And then to get this out, I like to just do a couple of slashes, and that allows you to just take out those internals of the bread and just break them into bite-sized pieces. And you're basically left with just the crust, and that's the vessel for the dip. Okay, so our bacon is crispy. So now it's time to add our spinach. You could use a couple of bunches of English spinach, just trimmed, or frozen spinach would be a good option as well if you couldn't get your hands on fresh. So it's just a matter of wilting that down, and that will just take a couple of minutes. So our spinach leaves have just started to wilt. So now it's time to add some cream cheese. So it's just 250 grams of regular cream cheese. It's much easier to incorporate if the cream cheese is at room temperature, and it'll just start to gently melt. And some creme fraiche or sour cream would be perfectly acceptable for this one. So now you can see we're getting a lovely dip consistency. Okay, so at this point, take it off the heat, and we can add in some grated cheddar and some parmesan. Parmesan gives it a lovely piquancy, whereas the cheddar cheese will give you that lovely stretch, gooey texture. So So just toss that together. And at this stage we can season it with some freshly ground black pepper. You probably don't need any salt at this point because you've got lots and lots of bacon in there, which is naturally salty. We've also got the cheese, which adds a salt component as well. And just to counteract all that richness, what we've done is just a little bit of finely grated lemon rind, and that will just bring that freshness. And a few little chopped chives. A few little green onion tops. Other herbs could be used in here, such as parsley, or even some fresh dill would be really lovely. Okay, so now it's just a matter of filling it. You don't need to heat it until the cheese is melted at this point, because once you pop it in the oven and the bread heats up, that will finish off melting all that lovely cream cheese. Once the lid goes on, it will kind of overflow and drip down the sides. It'll make those extremities of the bread taste even more delicious. So just wrap it up in some foil. That just goes into the oven, hot oven, for about 20 minutes, just until the bread's lovely and warm and the dip's completely melted. Okay, here we have it, the spinach cob loaf. Let's see, oh, it smells delicious. You can see, can you hear that? Crispy crust of the bread. You can actually see the dip bulging. Yum! Just a little final flurry, a few little snipped chopped chives. I think that's my top tip when you go to present anything, is just add that tiny little bit of freshness at the very end. And it might be as simple as a few roughly chopped herbs. It could be a lemon or lime wedge. It just gives it a really delicious appeal. Okay, then we've got our soft and fluffy bread inside, and then there it is. Our spinach and bacon cob loaf, perfect for casual entertaining and always goes down a treat.